Hi, I'm Rick Harmon. If you're a real estate agent or a broker dealing with inherited property anywhere in California, there are a few things you need to know, and I want to provide you a few insights in the form of a few videos you can use. No legal advice, nothing really technical, but some basic things you can apply in making your life easier for you and your seller. Each of these training videos is going to give you a little snackable piece that you can use without making this too complicated. So the first one we want to know is probate required? If you have a property where the owner is deceased, we want to know if it's necessary to open a formal probate. And so if the probate is going to be required, if the property value is less than $50,000, well, that's pretty unlikely in California, but it's possible if it's way out in the desert and all that, or a piece of scrappy land. But under $50,000, no probate's required. If it's between $50,000 and $150,000, an informal process is available that is not a formal probate. But if it's over $150,000 and it's not in a trust, and the surviving spouse is no longer available, then the property will need to go through probate, not including just the real estate, but also all other assets. There may be, one house and a lot of stock. So the total assets, whether there's a will or not, it will have to be going through probate. In 2020, probate estates are represented in the chart that I'm going to give you that's considerably greater than it has in past years. And you'll see that probably as a result of the pandemic, of course, but the natural progression. So what I want you to understand in these series of videos we're going to do for you is I have a way that you can look at inherited property from the following standpoint. It's not all about probate. So the first thing to understand is you're dealing with inherited property that is coming in stages. Now, if you will, like before, during, and after. So what this means is that you have people who have inherited property, but they haven't done anything about it, and they live in the house, and the title is still the name of a deceased owner. And I want you to think in terms of the issues the families are going to be dealing with. And sometimes they have title messes. And what they're also going to have is other issues because they started a probate and something has happened along the way. There's been a dispute. And there are going to be some cases where there is no probate necessary because there was a trust, and cases where everything was done a long time ago and now they've inherited the property. They had it for a few years. The key I want you to understand is that you're going to be in the business of helping people. That's what you've been doing. If you've been doing listing properties and selling properties to your buyers, for at least a few years or longer, you're in the problem-solving business. And that's what I want you to think about when you're dealing with inherited property. In 2020, the number of probate estates in just East California and the full impact of the pandemic are only beginning to surface. Not every property is going to have to go through the probate process, as I mentioned, but some of your sellers who have already completed these probates will bypass the courts, and so you don't have to deal with that. And there's plenty of courses out there that will teach you how to sell property once they're in probate, but I want to think of that probates as being a solution to a title problem when the owner is deceased, because deceased owners can't sign documents, right? And you need to have a principal. So experienced agents really do understand that they are in the problem-solving business, but there's other people who have created or allowed to occur, and you're going to be solving that problem. For simplicity's sake, I want you to know that most agents are really trained to fill out forms. Salespeople, by their nature, would rather be talking with a seller or a buyer instead of countless hours and satisfying a myriad of listing disclosures. I guess I'm no different. It's true that there are court forms and there are different listings and sales disclosures and additional steps and processes to follow. Also, the very real possibility of others that are scrutinizing your sale, including attorneys and judges and emotional family members and a plethora of people who seem to appear out of nowhere. While probate is rarely a fast process, if you follow the suggestions here, you'll have a much better chance of finding a probate in other inherited property listings and experience smoother closings. So let's get on with the little story that I call Bob and Sue Buy Their Dream Home. Bob and Sue buy their dream home in the 1970s, and what happens is they get a mortgage with the property. And in this timeline, if this before, during, and after scenario. They get a mortgage, they get into normal life situations. Bob and Sue have a kid, they have kid number one, they have a daughter maybe, they have, we'll call her Sally, and they'll have a boy, we'll call him Billy. And then along the way, Sally and Billy get older, Billy gets into some trouble, mom and dad bail him out, and that shows up as a lien on the property. And during this time period, over these 40 or 50 years of ownership, there's a title trail that's left as far as recording documents on the property. And so if you think in terms of probate as more of a timeline of life events, I think you'll discover that this is an easier way to think about where you want to enter the picture and where you want to solve a problem. The big takeaway, I think, with this is that you consider how you want to find these people and how you want to start the conversation. Not every opportunity out there has to be a probate. And yeah, there's going to be properties that are currently in probate, but you're going to find situations that entirely bypass probate because the title has already been changed. So think of it in terms of inherited property, inherited real estate, if you will. This is, I think, going to be the key that you're going to have to find when you are out there scouting around looking for listings. This is Rick Harmon from closeprobate.com. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you want more, absolutely subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as my Rick's Rants weekly email at rickharmon.com. You get weekly insights and ideas and more insights on how you can close your probates even sooner. Look forward to seeing you on the other side.